Welcome back. Still here with Jeff Massey, Administrator of Washington County, Florida. Jeff, we've talked about the loving, giving people in Washington County. We've talked about our competent and hardworking staff when it comes to not just our county, but even though you're not here to talk about them, the other municipal entities within Washington County, certainly. I want to wrap up our discussion today with a little bit about the U.S. Census.
Okay.
The U.S. Census started in 1790. That's been going on for a lot of years. Every 10 years, this is a huge effort to basically document everybody who lives in the United States.
Constitutional mandate.
Okay, so you're the expert. Let's talk a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit in broad strokes about the U.S. Census and how it affects us.
Well, it's very important because the census, in our society, numbers are very important in everything we do. So every so many years, 20 years, whatever, 10 years, they do the census. And so the census helps do a lot of things. Businesses gauge, they look at demographics based on populations from census. Congressional districts.
When you say businesses, in other words, a business outside the area looking to come in?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, everybody looks at the numbers. You get our voting districts. They're set up by census. Its population is very important. When I met with the census man representative, he told me something very interesting I didn't realize, that for every 100 people we don't claim in our census, it'll end up costing us about $1 million over 10 years in this county. So,
whoa. Repeat that.
For every 100 people that are in our residents that are in our county that we don't get in the census, it'll end up costing this county about $1 million over 10 years for 100. So what if it's 200? What if it's 300 we don't get? And the reason it would cost us that money is because when they look at population centers and they look at growth and they determine all these factors from that, it's funding is a part of that, and what you're eligible for and things like that. So that's what he was meaning by that. So I never really realized that before, and I thought it was really interesting. And I've always filled out my census stuff, when it comes in, and I've already done mine. And I think I'm right in saying we're a little over 50% here. But the importance, and see the school children, they need to start understanding this too. And so they can go home to mom and dad and say, you know what, I learned about the census. And mom and dad will say, you know what, we need to do the census. COVID hit, now our kids are at home. And so we really have to pay attention to make this work, because it will affect us. It will affect us in the future.
I think the upside of having the virus and having enforced shelter at home stipulations in place is that everybody's living on their phone. So hopefully, with our effort to tell people about the census, we've got a little bit easier job because they are at home, they don't have as much going on, and I hate that for them, but our win is that they're on their phone and we can get them. But I want to go back to the monies that it actually costs us. We have people who complain that their road is not as well maintained as they would like it. Everybody would like to have a brand new road in front of their place. That perhaps the ambulance was a little bit slow in getting to their father when he had a medical emergency, or that the fire department was slow in getting to them, or that there should have been another fire hydrant in their area, or this or that or this or that. From what I'm hearing from you, they can proactively and aggressively attack those problems simply by filling out the census.
It would certainly help. It would certainly help a lot.
I'm looking at $1,000 a year per person, because what you said is roughly $1 million over 10 years if 100 people go uncounted. So you take $1 million and divide it by 10 years, that's $100,000 per year. 100 people, that's $1,000. So you not filling out your census are costing the county somewhere in the vicinity of $1,000 every year for 10 years to make that aggregate $1 million. That would go a long way toward accomplishing some of your goals.
It will, and to us, every penny counts. We don't have a beach, okay? So the tourism aspect, and our TDC does a great job trying to promote our county because we have a lot of great assets, our springs and our waterways and things. But that beach is a big draw for money. And so they can do things that we can't. So every dollar does count. And we want to make sure we spend it wisely, and we're proactive, to try to secure the funds that we are able to secure to do the very things you're talking about. And we're on track doing that. I mean, I'm telling you, you can't do it overnight, but I'm telling you, it's already starting to, you can see it, and it's starting to move in the right direction, and makes me feel wonderful of being about a Washington County citizen. And I think one day more and more of our citizens will start recognizing this too, and kind of see what's going on. And I'm pretty excited about the whole deal. Man, I mean, you know, this is great work. It's challenging, and many other things, but I'm going to tell you, I'm having fun, and I like living here. I like the people here.
The way I understand it, and the way I see you and the county commissioners, you guys are in a marathon, not a sprint. You have immediate and necessities that you must accomplish today by close of business. But you've also got 5-year plans and 10-year plans and 20-year plans. And it seems like in the past, we have not been as diligent about aligning out those longer term plans to be able to provide for it, because that's where your financial freedom comes from, is knowing that it's going to take us 12 years to pay off this debt. Well, as long as you state that course, it's going to happen. When something else comes up or you change your mind in midstream, or another commissioner gets elected and they change the plan, then nothing ever gets accomplished to fruition. You've seen a lot of accomplishment and a lot of that train being righted, put back on the tracks and running down that road towards those long-term goals.
I could go down a list, item after item after item, on firsts that I've seen since the board has provided that leadership. For instance, it could be as small as this. To my knowledge, and living here, we've never paved a road unless it came from state funding. But for the first time, I believe, in the history of this county, we paved a mile of Orange Hill with our funds. And that's because they were being fiscally responsible and looking at that plan. You know, a lot of things going on right now that folks won't realize, but our comprehensive plan. We have to, that is our Bible for this county. And so things change every day. And the more people that move here creates change. So you have folks out here that want to buy this acreage and do this. Well, our comp plan's out of date. That's why we redo it every 10 years. So we went right over to Tallahassee and sat down in front of DEO, and I said, sir, we have to redo our comp plan. What monies can I apply for to do this? And the reason I'm telling you this is because they awarded us $300,000 to do our comp plan. But part of our comp plan is not just our mapping and our future land use maps. It's our strategic economic plan. You know, all of that. And so, yes, that's going to affect us for the next 10 years. So as we do this year, we have to have it done in 2020. Well, actually, yes. But as we do this, it's going to be our Bible for the next 10 years. We got to get it right. So that money was huge for us, because now what we can't do, we're going to get a professional to come in and do it right. So when citizens want to do things in the county, our comp plan allows them to. Same with building. Our building department, they get new statutes and rules every 3 years. Well, it's coming up again. And they do that because things change. And so I had that conversation with the building inspector yesterday, and because there's so many different things happening, people are starting to move here. And we haven't had to deal with that much in the past, but we have to deal with it now. I mean, we can't turn a blind eye, because it's important that we maintain the community that we love without letting it get out of hand. We love our rural community. We love our lifestyle here. I don't think anybody lives here wants to see it turn into a big mess. And so how we do things is critical, and planning and how we allow things to happen as representatives of the people is huge. But I think we're doing a good job of it. So far, and I'm no professional administrator. I've been here about 3 years, but I'm pretty excited about it.
Well said, Jeff. You've been an asset to the county. We're very proud of our sitting board of county commissioners, the way they are reacting and acting and being aggressively proactive about all of today's problems, but looking towards tomorrow's problems. We're out of time. I would love to get you back on some kind of a semi-irregular basis, whenever you can carve out a few minutes. I think it's really important to let our citizens know exactly what's going on. So many people have questions about their own personal lives, the road in front of their house. If they know that every once in a while they can hear you talk about the long-term road program or what's going on in the county, then they have a better understanding. They're less likely to gripe about what they perceive as not going on. And sometimes transparency is just the best way. Would you be willing to come on a regular basis?
Absolutely, and I agree with you. Communication, when you don't have communication, it's very hard to make it through the day. You got to have that good communication. We've been at such a fast pace from Michael to COVID. I think it's important that people do know. And I would be glad to do that on a regular basis because there's a lot of good stuff going on as well.
Thanks for being here today.
No, man, I love it anytime.
Our guest today has been Jeff Massey, Administrator of Washington County, Florida. Like it or hate it, I think you'll have to agree that today's show had a lot of compelling information. Hopefully, if you have not yet responded to the U.S. Census, you will do so. I will assure you somebody will knock on your door if you don't respond by mail or by phone or online. And so if you don't want somebody interrupting your dinner one of these nights, knocking on your door, getting you to fill out that census, please go online. That website is on the bottom of the screen right now. Tune in often, catch Jeff, catch other representatives from the county, letting us know what's going on in Washington County, all a service of this program by Florida Panhandle Technical College. We'll be right back.